Matt. Thank you.
There we go.
Jeez.
Shh,
cheese and rice. You know, cheese and rice, Matt. Get it together. We're at beautiful Melted Power, by the way, if you weren't aware.
Yeah, I feel like we might see... Well, actually, we're not going to see action here from Melted Power. We might see somebody make a rotation drop, but United is not in our matches today.
They are not here, correct.
Instead, we're going to see how much is going to be brought out specifically by teams we were talking about at the start. Yoho Wildcard are our PGC, I guess, hopefuls is the best way to say it, and see what they can do. And looking at Tokyo Manji Gang, you made the joke earlier, and I can't see it as anything else but Tokyo Manji Boo Gang now, and thank you for that.
It's, I mean, I think it was Poro that was roasting me because every time we were casting together, I just said Maji instead of Manji. But I like this team a lot. I really, really like this team a lot. Obviously, they kind of made a really nice splash in the qualifiers for ESL. And then in ESL itself, in the grand finals, they had some good games, they had some bad games, but overall, I feel like for a new team, I mean, they really showed us that they were here to play. And so now coming into the regionals, I'm excited, man, especially, again, Colton and Zealot for me, although Wadez and Hollow My Bad have been wonderful, I feel like that duo just worked so well together last time we saw. And then as far as Hollow My Bad, I mean, I feel like, again, I'll say that guy is incredibly mechanically gifted. I feel like he's very good, and he could potentially be a problem in the next coming months, next year specifically. Yeah.
Tokyo Manji Gang better make sure that they're making him nice and comfy, because I feel like a couple of teams could have their eyes set on him. I do also want to point out that the plane path did go over the canal right next to Military Island. I didn't see it connect too much with the land, so I would say just assume the fact that we're going to see this going to the north and the island itself.
Pretty chill circle, honestly. Nothing. This is about as vanilla as it gets for Erangel, right? You're all the way basically on landmass. There's no possible way this thing is going to do something weird with water. I mean, worst case scenario, it shifts like north to cube, like, oh well. But yeah, most of these teams are actually going to be able to get something comfortable in the center. Maybe West Coast, we'll see some teams kind of rotate around. I could definitely see Wildcard kind of skirt the West Coast and get some information. But this is for all intents and purposes, Matt, this is a Gatka circle.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't want to say anything because whenever I said that yesterday, we ended up in Quarry with a cruel circle. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
I could go.
Luminosity told me I had to, so I'll make sure to carry that on from yesterday. Yeah, dude, I got a DM from Luminosity itself to say stop casting her. I haven't learned my lesson.
I see. Well, I haven't gotten any of those DMs thankfully yet, but yeah, this is a pretty kind of honestly like normal opening for this group, and I'm not too upset about it. I think that last time I casted, I mean, there was some wild circles yesterday, but nothing too crazy. And I'd like to see these teams kind of get their footing underneath before we throw in like a Millie base or something weird off the coast. Because
I like the fact that you're just waiting for that, though. You've now joined our side entirely. Godspeed.
I mean, ESL was really crazy. I mean, there were some really crazy circles that forced, and I think the reason, like, a lot of people like crazy circles just to watch the chaos, right? I specifically enjoy crazy circles because it's really neat to watch a team adapt and like do something kind of out of the box that works. And those are the reasons for me that make those kind of messed up circles for these teams so exciting and so enjoyable to watch. And then sometimes those teams just get stomped because that circle is just the most unforgiving thing in the world. It happens.
Like, I know that there's the running joke about the fact that I just love to see like all of this crazy stuff happen. What I want to do is I love to see sections of the map that don't normally get attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And see teams and how they feel to play these spots, because it's almost like a surprise on these dips that they feel are strong that somebody else might not know about. Or in addition to that, whenever you start turning on the pressure, I feel like that's whenever we really see teams. No, stop! Don't look at the doll. Thank you. That's when we see the strength come out of them. Sometimes, let's be honest, rotations can be rote. Some of the fights can be rote. Positioning, whenever you get to those god compounds, can be quite strong. Shift away from that, and suddenly the tables have a chance of turning. Whoever reacts fastest and has the capability of figuring out the keys to success in an odd circle really showcases their strengths.
I mean, the saying goes is pressure makes diamonds, right? So
yeah,
it's very clear that, and there's been some really impressive players where pressure does not get to them at all, and they've been able to shine. I think for me, even though he's not played it at Kick, has been like definitely one of those players, especially on the international stage. And so it's really cool to see those circles kind of get these amazing plays out of the players and teams alike. So although yes, the players, especially when I was a player, those messed up circles were obnoxious and they're really frustrating. Sometimes it can lead to some pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the players are always supposed to be trying to play for the most efficient, right? That's the running thing about esports in general. Players are supposed to try to figure out how to break the game. What's the best weapon? What's the best loadout? How is everything configured? And Nate is trying to figure out the best way to approach this, but looks like the rest of his team is just cresting that hillside. Not a fear in the world. And you said you wanted to keep an eye on this team, and right off the get-go, it's going to be Protege going down, and they're at least going to get first knock, possibly first blood as well, but might be discouraged away.
Yeah, this team has a lot of experience. Adrenaline has a lot of experience between Zray and Aid. Greta's obviously been around for a while as well. I'll be completely honest, I'm not terribly familiar with Dylan. Potentially a player that I've known with a different name, but overall, I think this roster is really, really strong, and they have a lot to offer, especially, again, because they've been around for a while.
The trap is run through. Looks like SF is just going to cut through this path, but LG is going to let it go for now. Well, I say that. Tailwind's going to pop off and take some shots into him, but looks like that's just going to be kind of some shots in the butt to make them continue on their way. Luke and Purdy probably will not be able to get an angle in time to be able to follow up off of that. And Pat might be in an awkward spot. Are they going to come back and try to save him? That might lead to a firefight, or at least an exchange of bullets.
Luminosity as well. Again, they have to cross. They've had to deal with Spicy Fish before. One team generally will leave before the other, but they're currently waiting to see if anyone's camping. Luckily for them, no one is, but we'll see what Spicy Fish's plays. And meanwhile, ADR, Adrenaline still just kind of hanging around waves here, and they're taking up a good amount of space. They have to be careful of their backs, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have someone scouting that, so they can definitely take up the space for the time being and either dictate some rotations or just kind of wait it out.
Assaulting in the Badlands is so strong because of the way that you can maneuver around through it. So I like the fact that they're being greedy there. They just have to make sure that nobody crashes them. Yeah. As with the circle at this stage, just being crashed, holding off different angles is near.
Just because it's so open. Yeah, it's just very open at this stage, right? But I think again with their spread, it's not bad.
Okay, so Purdy's going to watch these go down, take the shot.
Camp from LG. Can they actually get something?
Oh, there we go. An exchange back.
Oh my God, they get everything.
Luke 12 and Pizza goes down as well.
That's two for Hey Donix.
This was a messy fight for both of them, so let's see how this is going to line together. Donix is down that hillside. You can see Alo's trying to see if he can spot him out. Does manage to get it, and now should be able to get the rest.
I mean, pretty successful, all things considered, right? They had two knocked, but they didn't lose anyone, and I mean, they sprung that trap really quickly, and Hey Donix, with a heroic effort, gets Penta and Luke for the double knock, but not able to finish it out. And that was honestly, I mean, that was well played by LG. They've gotten rid of the team behind them, and now all they have to do is focus on the team that potentially is camping the bridge, which, to their delight, they'll find out soon there is no team camping, so they're good to cross.
That was an interesting fight just due to the fact that it happened around that bridge area. So you really saw that Spicy Fish was just trying to get by, and
they were just trying to
rinse and repeat off of it, just force them to come through. Ace is going to go to that eastern bridge, and looks like that's going to be the rest of the column. Everybody else is playing center just around the fields, as should be no surprise to anyone. I do want to remind everybody that we do have a squad stream. If you guys would like to, just down in that bottom right corner, right next to the follow button, you can go ahead and click on that. And whenever you do, you'll be able to watch both us and the map at the same time. And I promise, with circles like this, you're going to want to keep an eye on that map.
Yep, map is always really fun to watch, especially if you're just trying to learn about, like, you know, something as simple as rotations, or you can see kind of some of the decisions these teams make. I would highly, if you're watching us, turn on the map. Why not? Turn up some squad stream. I was curious if TTG actually, Matt, was going to camp, potentially cube, and maybe try to cut off a rotation, but it doesn't look like they're doing that at all.
With the circle, it wouldn't surprise me. That I like the idea on sitting there and waiting, but I'm guessing they're assuming that everybody could have probably already gone at this stage. And while they might get a reward out of it, I don't even know if anybody's going to be going through that one.
True. I mean, they could also use that as a staging area after the circle shifts and technically be the last ones in.
Strong.
I mean, even if it goes south, right? I mean, that's kind of the strength of if you watch, like, think about what United does, right? Like, they would potentially, like, stay at a position like that when the circle closes, because then they'd be the last one in the north, right? And then they can come down knowing their back is clear. It's kind of the strength of a play like that. But either way, yeah, rotating into the circle is obviously also a good play for them as well. We're just curious if they were going to do it. I mean,
going into the circle has its merits every once in a while, you know. Looking through, Tokyo Manji Gang might be bumping into Abstract in the northeast, but I feel like that's just a rotation potential, just shooting.
Yeah,
There we go. Back's going to go ahead and get away from that. No, nothing else happening. And there you go. We've got a Gatka circle. So this is pretty much going to be the nature of the beast until we need this. See this next circle.
It's about to shift as well. Most teams coming in, again, we didn't really expect any difficulties, and it is actually going to go north. So all of a sudden, that team play looks real good. But yeah, a lot of this team's now, obviously, it's centered up towards the south, and we'll have to rotate in. And this, I said there wouldn't be too many water shenanigans in this circle, and there really still aren't. It's just the top side now, yes, we'll have to deal with crossing that bridge. I would imagine that most teams are going to position themselves towards the south, right? We do have one team going towards Cube. I like that a lot. But
this is
and that is
about the only ones either.
Yeah.
Everest could be quite strong in this one, and we haven't seen anybody go for any plays. There you go. Mercy is making the run up the hillside, and several teams are going to be falling back behind them. I feel like we might have an Everest Foothills storm brewing there with, looks like we have Wildcard as well as Immaculate. I think it's also over here. Mercy is trying to hold this foothill position. And here we go. It's just a quick rollout, and now it's going to be Mercy having to regroup quite quickly while they were looking up that hillside. His sneak attack is off in the distance, and Martins is going to go ahead and get the drop on one member of Immaculate.
Oh, and they're all okay. I mean, this is North Gatka here. Things are potentially looking to get a little messy here. This is not the worst compound to share, simply because you can see that kind of divide between the two stories and the former yellows. They're teal now, but you can kind of coexist here. The problem is the longer you do that, especially when Circle is posting and other teams start to surround you, the worse it is to try to get out of the situation. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams try to push the pace here and get the white, but at the same time, if they don't do it, it's also not surprising. I guess nothing here would surprise me.
This has led to an awkward log jam. We do have PUBG that's just going to be
becomes
northwest.
a stalemate, basically.
That was a nice little peek that went off onto this one, so being patient with it. Dodge was wanting to come into this angle but couldn't quite do it. Dak is going to go ahead and get the flush onto one. Mercy doing a good job of just holding this line that they have set up with two inside of one building, one off the side of it, and just having a rotator around to make sure that they can defend up is providing a solid wall that nothing can go through. The wall just distance there, you can see it's going to be Dodge members trying to drive around and pass a different wall that Wildcard is trying to set up. Looks like we do have Short Circuit Gaming
taking antenna
down a point as well. Yeah, but this isn't a circle, so I guess
no, it's not. Yeah, it's a good area. It's definitely a good area to scout from. The other thing about that fight is no one is currently on Everest, right? So Mercy is. This is kind of their window to attack, because once someone gets on that mountain, they can just take free shots from down below. It also looks like SCG is actually just headed that way as well. So this is about to be an absolute mess in Gatka North.
Oh, yeah. It's just everyone's now coming in, making the run by. We're hearing the fact that there is a firefight going on. Sonic's also on the opposite side of that fight that we were looking at a second ago with Immaculate and Mercy. Everybody is trying to get involved in what's going to be going on. SCG now coming by, got a knockdown Sneak Attack, and now Sneak Attack, who are doing such a great job on the are finding themselves just outnumbered. There's just so many teams around. Neverhorde jumps into this one, and it's just an absolute bloodbath back behind this one. Wildcard, here's what's going to be going on, and this is now assaulting back behind the Immaculate side of this, so they're not even safe.
Wow, this is an absolute mess. I thought maybe SCG was going to try to go up top to Everest. They had scouted it. No one had really been up there, but I guess they didn't see. They decided to go for the third party, but they came in the backside and they immediately got two knocked. Luckily for them, they were able to take out one Mercy member, though, Matt, and this is actually centered up on Everest as well as crates.
Oh, damn. This is going to be... Okay, this is about to be a mess for a ton of things. Everest is going to take
already?
a lot of space. We still have the river. We've got crates that are going to be inside of this. I mean, there's a chance we could shift to Georgia Pole crate fight. When was the last time we saw that? Even we can still have Everest, and now Wildcard is making a push in, and they're assaulting the backside of what's going to be going on. This is... what do you do if you're Mercy? They have just been pinched so viciously.
And I like this play from Wildcard, realizing that this is their opportunity to come in, right? But again, they can basically just kind of sit here and wait for this fight to now settle. As Vox is going to go in, he's going to find just one member of Mercy left. And yes, Wildcard can now just sit back and wait because they are edge. So even if they take their time with this fight, they don't necessarily have to push, but they're going to use the opportunity of Mercy fighting to try to get this cleared. I love it.
Oh, I love this coming out from the last member from Mercy, sneaking away. realizing the push was going to be coming, moved back into that area. Got to be careful because it looks like Neverhor has already sniffed out what's going to be going on. Adam does have a back angle that he's playing on this and might be drawing some of the aggression away. Yep, no, he's going to go down anyway. It was a 1-2 punch between both teams to go ahead and finish him out.
Yep, it was. Wildcard, though, very smartly wrapping around towards the hill so they can kind of get around it and case the team of SCG. And now SCG has to respond, but they're all sitting in the same building, and this is rough. This is very rough.
Wildcard just doing wildcard things. Nice throw from Waikikamukow. Is it going to open up the breach, or are they just going to continue to harass? Going to go ahead and follow it in, throw the Molotovs off, and that was pretty close. Got to make sure you don't hit your teammate in the back of the head. Great shot looking through, but let's not forget Sonics are using this opportunity to just go ahead and bypass everything that's happening here and now working their way up on top of Everest. Peek onto the side of it, Waikikamukow looking in, and it's going to be fights now happening everywhere. Within about 300 meters of this location.
Yep, literally everywhere. And now Wildcard, again, they're not necessarily pressed to end this that quickly because they're edge. They can start their way up the mountain knowing their back is clear. But the longer they take, a team like Sonics, we actually see Shrimzy already on the backside just trying to third party. And that's it. Wildcard has wiped SCG, but now Shrimzy has the information on the backside of that. And he's going to back it up. I was going to say that could have been an issue, but Wildcard cleared that just in time. And now Shrimzy realizes that his window is gone. Beautiful stuff from Wildcard.
I mean, Wildcard just playing exactly the way that they want to right now. I do like the eyes on this coming out from Sonics, realizing there was the potential for some free points on that, but are going to be denied. Okay, now then, everything else that's been going on. LG are trying to come into the north of the circle. You can see the fact that they are right on the edge. Purdy is still on the outside of the blue looking in. He's playing that northern Georgiapol area while making sure to provide a covering angle so the rest of the team can get by this ace position. This is kind of its own contained fight, but we do have Yahoo that is holding off to the east, as well as Tokyo Manji Gang that's going to be holding down in there. This is... okay, Everest is the big feature inside of it.
Everest is it, baby.
Going to stay on Everest. King of the Hill, let's go.
I actually loved I love watching and casting these circles, and I actually really enjoyed playing Everest circles. Fighting on that mountain, it can be frustrating sometimes, but most of the time, at least for me, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the elements, the little nooks and crannies. There's a lot of ways to outplay on Everest as well. Sometimes it's unforgiving again, but overall, I really like playing these circles.
Sonics are going to be pretty rewarded early for getting into this position, as well as ADR. I mean, do you like? I know the fact that there's merits to both sides, but whenever you're looking at this, do you assault the east or the west side?
It depends. Circle is like it's exactly that. You do it based on the circle, and right now Sonic's position on that lower west, that southwest side is money, right? Because the circle is there. That's their back. Once that closes, they know that all they have to worry about is pushing up towards the peak and then pushing down the other side. So their back will be clean the whole time. This is a wonderful circle for Sonics or any team that would essentially hold from their position. ADR. It's a little more frustrating because they have to sit in the middle and try to hold the East. And the East is, I mean, let's be honest, Matt, the East is where most of those teams are going to try to come up, right? And so unless they go for like some weird South wrap. And so, yeah, ADR just has to be really conscious of when they fight and be really conscious of when they do fight. They'll probably get third party from either side.
We do see the fact that Abstract has already gone down. Don't insult any team for trying to navigate this circle, but Tokyo Manji Gang Zealot's going to find Balefrost as he was going for a lineup of his own. Whoa, another line. He's got that rock that is covering him so well. Easy peeks coming out that one.
For sure he had that.
I thought so too. He's got to be careful now as he does have LMI Bad that is down around back behind him. So he is pretty much on his own isolated island. Once this kill, my God, that nade almost took him down.
Man, that's so unfortunate. Zealot almost had that second knock, and that's really what he needed to survive. I'm not quite... Yeah, he's going to get knocked to the blue. Still a hell of an effort.
Right as soon as they get the res on the other side of this, Colton, they do have now the high ground and the inside track onto it. LG says, screw all of that. We're just going to go try to bypass it, and they're making a mad dash straight at Everest. It's going to be Sonics that are shooting down into him, but they did a great job on navigating the shots in between. Colton is going to go down back with Yahoo, and they're just going to come rolling in. Jumped out, hell am I bad? That was aggressive. I see the premise in it, but man, that was...
What an actual hold from Yahoo, honestly, Matt. That was nice. That was very impressive, especially because it started with Zealot getting a pretty clean knock, almost a double there. They were able to hold that edge. Beautiful stuff.
I mean, this is just a complete mess. I do want to point out when LG made the shift into this one, they did lose Purdy. He went down. They are using the brakes on those cars and the parking brakes specifically to get as much cover as they can, using the dips up the hillside. This is something we don't get a chance to see too often, is just a full defensive line. And guess what? Yo, they seem like they have the exact same idea. They're coming in just a little bit higher back behind them. Gonna jump out, and Penta gets an instant drop onto Punich. That was red. Grenades are gonna come through. Sparking already takes a ton of damage, and it's gonna be Shinboy running up, just trying to get into cover.
It's just Shinboy now. And this is such an awkward place to fight. So honestly, big kudos to Luminosity for being able to hold this, especially because they're on the lower part of this. They have the low ground.
I mean, that was just beautifully defended up from the
Shinboy,
lineup
though,
into the nades.
I was gonna say he could still make something happen, but it was Hustler's Academy, I believe. Yeah, from all the way downtown.
So you've managed to get a foothold on Everest. You're feeling pretty good about that, except for the fact that there are about, I don't know, 4 teams that haven't made that trek just quite yet, and instead are looking at trying to pick up kill points on people trying to assault that cliff facing, and right now not finding too much success, but as the circle is going to continue to crush everybody into it, they might find something. I'm looking at this, and we still have, I believe, Maddie that's just driving around trying to find somewhere to go. You can see him on the mini-map there. Everywhere he goes, there's just bullets or somebody that's taking shots at him, and he can't find a path in.
That's because there really isn't much to play. You're either playing the side of this mountain or you're pretty much not playing anything right. Like, even if Matty wraps that circle and he finds something back there, I think if anything, he's just trying to get some information on the east side. But yeah, it's just Everest. You either play Everest, the base of Everest, or you're dead. It's kind of your only choices here.
Oh, wild card in that sneak in. And wait, we don't even get to talk about that because we have TTG that is trying to come into this. Multiple members now down for LG. It is just Luke 12 looking off into the distance, seeing if he can get some more knocks, and he has a toy that can provide it. Issue is look at that mini map and how many people are coming after. Yeah. The smokes are the only thing that's providing cover, but that means that he can't see out either.
He really can't. I mean, we saw he tried to go up and potentially get a shot off, but I mean, he's just getting pelted from every single direction. Unfortunately as well, Penta and Alo have both gone down. But at the very least, I mean, Luke can sit here for a bit. He's on the edge. He's not technically going to get pushed because there's 2 other teams that could potentially gatekeep for him. So he has to make sure he just doesn't go down at range. That's going to be Luke's biggest danger here, is potentially going down at range.
And with that, I mean, we're starting to see Hustlers Academy having to move in. They're being shot from everywhere, while Luke is as well. And our high ground teams are just loving it. I want to point out, while this is going on, Wildcard is creeping up on top of Everest. You can see it's Waikik and Mukau has managed to crest up there. Sonic's very caught up and just trying to feast on everything they see around them. At 5 kills already, make that 6, and soon to be quite a few more.
Farming damage, I'm sure. I mean, they've probably gotten some knocks here or there as well that we can't really see or we missed. And I'm sure they've done an absolute just nightmare amount of damage on some of these teams, and they're continuing to do so. And again, this position, the way that they came up the mountain, and right when that circle closed, I mean, it was basically the best position, and Sonics took it.
Okay, so we're at phase 6. We're already down to our final 4. This just happens sometimes, is now Sonics are going to go fishing with dynamite and just dropping nades on top of everybody. The circle did shift to the east away from them, but they've got the tools to just continue to wreck what's going on around them. Wildcard is making the assault up, and looks like they are going to regroup with Waikik and Mukau. That means that it could be danger for ADR in a while, but let's be honest, TTG on the bottom of this hillside is the one that's going to feel the most pain.
Yep, TTG is all but getting hunted now and eliminated. Sonics want to get rid of this last member so they can either just use this side to push or just know that it's completely clear. And yeah, I mean, this is a wonderful play.
Greg
and
Shot
they should be able to pull it off. Yeah, ADR actually losing 2. Greg Shot, you're right. Wildcard pushed up on that mountain late. ADR's been here kind of on the side, and Wildcard is taking the better part of this fight.
I love the way that this is lined up.
Tig,
multiple members down, but left Tig up on top of this hillside and is now harassing, going to start laying into what's going on into this ADR Wildcard fight. Wildcard had the aggression, and they had the advantage right until Tig showed up, and that's going to provide enough of a distraction now for the rest of his team to regroup and climb back up the hillside. This is just continually being a Sonic show.
Yeah, either way, though, I really like the way Wildcard has played this game so far. Even though they are in a bit of a rough situation sandwiched between 2 teams, they still have 3 up, and they still have a good position to fight from. So as long as they can just either push back Sonics a little bit with some damage, maybe get a knock, and then focus on this last duo, I mean, they still have a chance to win this game.
This is getting hard to manage between everything that's going on. And I would be surprised if it slows down to some degree. Wildcard doesn't want to let the eastern part of this slow down, but Sonics have no need to over-aggress. And oh, Greta gets a drop on Waikikamukow. This is making it more of a survival situation coming up from ADR, but it's going to be Nikos on the side. Now it is just down to Dylan, multiple members for Wildcard. But guess what? With those exchange of knocks, that means that Sonics are now on a full charge this direction and are trying to make sure that they can mop this up before anybody gets a chance. Dylan, if he holds out long enough, might be providing some benefit for Sonics, but already going to go down. Wildcard is just surrendering more and more territory as Sonics have managed to get control over the top and the center, and I'm now looking down into Wildcard.
Oh, and that's going to be a bleed out there for Kikamuka. I don't think they could have gotten him up. And that was a hell of a knock coming out of Greta. She did not let up at all, and because of that, Sonics in a 4-on-2. I mean, it's not over yet. Adam found a knock, and especially with his underneath flank, if Mime is not careful, Nikos could definitely turn this around.
This has got to be careful right now. Tickleton's going to go ahead and throw this one through. Adam gets away, but still takes a massive amount of damage. Adam's still been down back behind them. Are we going to see the read come in? Oh, that nade is going to bounce away, but the pan was going to come over with the distraction. Mime is going to get the angle into Adam. Now it is just Nikos up, trying to flank behind, get some damage in. Position revealed. He did put in some work, but both of these teams are going to be feeling great with the kill count, the position, regardless of how this ends up. But Nikos wants to go for this win. It's not going to matter at the end of the day. Sonics continue their massive chicken dinner streak so far with another 13 kills.
Man, that's yeah, it's making it really hard for the rest of the lobby as they're just sponging at points. 13 kills, 2,300 damage. Excuse me. I think Tig had like 700 or 800 of that. The rest of them at least had like 300 or 400. I mean, Sonics were just farming up there, but big